This is Hannibal here from thehannibaltv.com. Going to do my weekly Wrestling Observer review before I go out there in the cold, flip my tire and hit it with my sledgehammer in my backyard because I'm still on a 2-week quarantine here, coming back from my coverage of the SWE Fury show last weekend in Texas, where I'm going to be back covering the next event happening there February 6th in Irving, Texas as well. And that's going to be another huge event. I'll give you more details on that as they come, but they're really growing their women's division there. They're adding more and more top female stars on a continuous basis. Plus, there's a lot of names I'm hearing rumors about that might be on that February 6th event. So I'm looking forward to it. I'll start off. Oh, by the way, tomorrow at 1:15 p.m. for my members that are part of this channel for $1.99 a month, I'm doing a Magnum TA live interview. It will eventually be posted for everyone. I also did a Barry Darso interview for members yesterday, which was excellent, and I've posted a few clips of that on this channel as well. We also stream these updates now on our The Hannibal TV Facebook page, as well as YouTube, and our Twitch page at Great North Wrestling. So to get into the WWE news from this week's Wrestling Observer, Patterson was put on the cover of the National Enquirer with the article all about being apparently gay sex secrets that he took to the grave regarding other wrestlers. Very controversial character for sure, Pat Patterson was. Ric Flair told ESPN this week that WWE is working on having a physical Hall of Fame, which, speaking of Barry Darso, Demolition should have been in there long before the likes of Drew Carey, but it is just a gimmick after all. I don't know if there is really a true wrestling Hall of Fame, to be perfectly honest with you. They're all very political. Brett DiBiase, the son of Ted DiBiase, who was once in the WWE's developmental program and actually made a brief appearance on the main roster, pled guilty on December 17th. He was part of the largest public embezzlement scheme in the history of Mississippi. He had been arrested on conspiracy to defraud the Mississippi Department of Human Services back in February. He was accused of trying to steal or use, he was accused of using a series of fraudulent and false claims to receive payments, then helping cover up those payments by falsifying documents, invoices, books, and ledgers. Former Department of Human Services workers created an invoice to pay for DiBiase to teach classes on drug abuse, but he apparently never taught those classes and used that money to pay for a luxury rehab stay in California for himself. He also put fraudulent money into his father, WWE Hall of Famer Ted DiBiase's Heart of David Ministries. That money was supposed to be used to feed the poor, but it went to the $1 Million Man's ministries. DiBiase apparently agreed to pay back all the money he's received. He was signed in 2008, and apparently he did pretty well there. Actually held the FCW tag team titles with Joe Henning, but had a series of problems and had about 4 surgeries by 2011. So he was injury prone. He was originally apparently supposed to be part of the Legacy group with Cody Rhodes, Ted DiBiase Jr., and Randy Orton. We did see earlier this year that Ted DiBiase Sr. the $1 Million Man was in the process of selling his property in Mississippi worth over $1 million, and people thought that that was related to this whole situation as well. There's been a lot of people, including Sid, that have said that Ted DiBiase Sr. is reportedly a pretty shady character. But that's all hearsay. I have, I think, met Ted DiBiase Sr. once when he was working for WWE as an agent, and I was being used as an extra in Calgary. I believe it was in Calgary in 2004 that I met him, but all it was a meeting. Apparently, the wrestlers from the main roster that have been sent back to the Performance Center to take classes with Adam Pearce and Drew Gulak, they've been told by Vince McMahon to go back to improve, are Keith Lee, Otis, Daba Kato, and Dio Madden. So they're going to learn how to get over and become popular, I guess, by Adam Pearce and Drew Gulak. I don't know if that's going to help, to be perfectly honest. Raw this week set an all-time ratings low record with a 0.41 rating. NXT did a 0.19 rating. Miz and Mrs. did a 0.12 rating. Total Bellas did a 0. Total Bellas did a 0.08. That's much lower than normal. SmackDown, I guess I forgot to write it. Forgot to write what the SmackDown is, but I think the SmackDown was a 0.58 last week. And AEW went from a 0.45 to a 0.32. So the return of Sting is already losing its specialness, but maybe it also has to do with apparently a few weeks ago, AEW had a run in every single segment they did. And I've tried to watch it. I'm just not a fan. I know they have a division of hardcore fans, and they're certainly better liked overall than WWE, it seems. But I'm completely not a fan of AEW. Jim Ross made some controversial comments recently. He said the ring style of AEW, there's too much super kicks, and he criticized all the pre-planned dive spots. He said, quote, "I told a kid the other day at AEW that everybody does the same fucking spot," end quote. He went on to say, quote, "All you guys go outside and cluster up like coils. You stand there in huddles, friends and foes together, side by side so you can catch someone. Leaping idiot going over the top who never wins with this move," end quote. I agree. They all stand there, baby faces and heels. It seems like time is frozen, especially the one where Luther did that slow motion spot when he was wrestling Jericho or someone. I forget exactly, but it was one of the worst matches I've ever seen. They're just standing there. We ought to catch you. We ought to catch you. It doesn't look realistic at all, and they constantly do it. It's just sucks. That's all I could say. This is why ratings are bad. It just plain sucks. That's all I can say. I'm sorry to say it. Cody and Brandy, which, by the way, I guess Brandy's 2 years older than Cody. Interesting. They are having a child. In other news, the Impact show with Kenny Omega this week did a 0.04 rating, which shows you the popularity of Kenny Omega. AAA Lucha Libre put off Triple Mania until December the 12th. There was about 20 fans in attendance. That's their big WrestleMania type show. I believe it's posted for free on their YouTube channel. Ring of Honor, I guess they're still around. For those of you that care about Ring of Honor, Bandito, Flamita, EC3, and Kenny King were all off the television tapings that took place recently due to COVID-related reasons. In UFC news, UFC 256, the prelims did only a 0.16 rating, which is the lowest prelim rating in UFC history. And we all know that there's less interest in MMA these days as well. There's lack of star power. The pay-per-views still do well when they have someone like Conor McGregor that's fighting in January, but overall, MMA is less popular now. Dana White told TMZ that he applauds what Jake and Logan Paul have done, and he knows there's a market for it, but he says there's a 0% chance Conor McGregor is going to face one of them at this point. He said, quote, "There will be a day when Conor McGregor could do these type of fights and make a bunch of money, but it ain't happening anytime soon," end quote. So the whole thing with, by the way, Jake Paul, someone tweeted it to me at my Devin Hannibal Twitter, which, by the way, if you follow me and send me a message, I will follow you back if you DM me, so I know your account is legit. Someone tweeted to me the Jake Paul promo on McGregor and said, "This is better than anyone on TV wrestling can do." And it was. Jake Paul is the great heels these days are in fighting sports more than wrestling. There is no great heels in TV wrestling that I've seen. And Jake Paul is doing a good job. And yes, there is more interest. People would want to see McGregor versus Jake Paul more than this guy he's fighting in January. I don't know his name. I can't even remember the guy's name that McGregor is fighting in January. It's not. It's true. There's just a lack of star power these days in wrestling and MMA and boxing. When you know that Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones can get the best pay-per-view buy rate of the year, it shows you, unfortunately, the star power issues that are in combat sports right now. Rodrigo, how's my day been? It's been all right. I was talking to someone earlier that wants to write a book with me, and I've got my dog sleeping on my lap. I'll let you go back to sleep, Piper. Just Josh says Demolition was his favorite tag team. Speaking of the Barry Darso interview I did yesterday. Mike thanks me for my interview with Darso. Looking forward to my Magnum TA interview tomorrow. Mr. Football 619, how many hours of sleep did I get? My sleep pattern, I have, because I'm just doing YouTube now, unless I have an appointment, I just go to sleep when I want and get up when I want, really. I really don't have a set schedule. Some days I can be up over 24 hours in a row. Matt R., what's up, everyone? He's one of my great members here at YouTube, and I thank you for your support on this channel. Big Trips, can't believe people watch Total Bellas and Ms. and Mrs. I've never seen either one. Mike S. hopes that AEW takes JR's advice. I really don't have any faith in any of those companies. I hope a company like SWE Fury that wants to go back to the old school style. Watch my interview with James Beers that I did at the SWE Fury event. He is one of the office at SWE Fury, and they really want to go back to that world-class championship wrestling, hard-hitting Texas style. They have some of the best women wrestlers around, by the way. 3 of the SWE women wrestlers were at the AEW tapings on Wednesday. Jasmine Allure, who I have an interview with on this channel, Vert Vixen, and Maddie Rinkowski. I have interviews with all of them on this channel, and AEW was looking at them this week. Mo Pop Shop gives me $5 towards my protein shake fund. Thank you. I think in 2021, my goal is going to be to get into my best shape ever. I'm in my best cardio shape. Jeff Miller, the Metal Maniacs, his Aloha brother, watching you. Well, everyone should check out my latest interview with the Metal Maniac on this channel. And by the way, you guys should also check out my merch store, as Piper's looking at my Hannibal logo on my shirt. But you can get the Hannibal TV merchandise, the links in the description, or at thehannibaltv.com. Marcus Pin, what about Pat McAfee and next? I honestly don't know. I don't watch NXT, and I didn't see anything about it in the news. Murd, would I fight Jake Paul? Yes, but I'm pretty sure he only wants to fight people a lot more famous than me. I'm not at his level yet as far as fame. He wants to fight people like McGregor and Mayweather that will bring his fame even more, rather than someone like me, who I'm admittedly less famous than him. David loves my lovely dog, Piper. Would I interview Tori Wilson? Rodrigo says, yes, I would. Sure would. Why would I not? Would I ever do videos on the Sasquatch? I've said this before. The reason I'm most interested in UFOs is because of the potential effect they can have on humanity. I think it's safe to say that the Sasquatch is not going to affect humanity. There's no risk of them taking over the world if they exist. And I haven't seen that much compelling evidence from the stuff I have seen about these Bigfoot types things. I am a believer in ghosts. I will be doing paranormal investigations next year. And of course, continuing my UFO coverage, because my UFO videos are actually becoming more popular than my wrestling videos. Jeff Miller, the Metal Maniacs burning a fatty. I never do that before I work out. The only time I can do anything after consuming THC is swim. Otherwise, I feel it has a negative effect on my workouts. The Big Bos Fetty says, great interview with Barry Darso, and he is a member, so he got to see that interview in full. Ria Diaz says his dad is a super fan of us. Thank you very much. Peter Carr wants me to interview the Yeti from WCW, who was Ron Reese, which made no sense that they had him dressed like a mummy and not an actual Yeti. It was so weird. So follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the Hannibal TV. We actually have someone helping us with Instagram and Twitter now, as well as Facebook. So you're going to see a lot more video content that is ad-free on those platforms. So I would suggest you guys follow us, as well as subscribe to this YouTube channel. Lots of great interviews coming. Have a great afternoon. Thanks for checking in with us, Metal Maniac.